Deus ex machina.
Deus ex machina is a plot device whereby a seemingly unsolvable problem is suddenly and abruptly resolved by the contrived and unexpected intervention of some new event, character, ability or object. Depending on how it is done, it can be intended to move the story forward when the writer has painted themself into a corner, and sees no other way out, to surprise the audience, to bring the tale to a happy ending, or as a comedic device.
Origin of the expression.
The Latin phrase deus ex machina, from deus, meaning a god, ex, meaning from, and machina, meaning a device, a scaffolding, an artifice, is a calque from Greek apou machines theos, meaning God from the machine. Such a device was referred to by Horace in his Ars Poetica, VV 191-92, where he instructs poets that they should never resort to a god from the machine to resolve their plots unless a difficulty worthy a god's unraveling should happen. He was referring to the conventions of Greek tragedy, where a machine is used to bring actors playing gods onto the stage. The machine could be either a crane, machine, used to lower actors from above, or a riser that brought actors up through a trapdoor.
Ancient usage.
More than half of Euripides' extant tragedies employ a deus ex machina in their resolution, and some critics claim that Euripides invented it, although Aeschylus employed a similar device in his Eumenides. A frequently cited example is Euripides' Medea, in which the deus ex machina, a dragon-drawn chariot sent by the sun god, is used to convey his granddaughter Medea, who has just committed murder and infanticide, away from her husband Jason to the safety and civilization of Athens. In Alcestis, the eponymous heroine agrees to give up her own life in order to spare the life of her husband, Admetus. At the end, Heracles shows up and seizes Alcestis from death, restoring her to life and to Admetus. The device was not without its ancient critics. Perhaps the earliest recorded critical reference to this device is in Plato's dialogue Cratylus, 425d, though it is made in the context of an argument unrelated to drama. Aristotle criticized the device in his Poetics, where he argued that the resolution of a plot must arise internally, following from previous action of the play. Aristotle praised Euripides, however, for generally ending his plays with bad fortune, which he viewed as correct in tragedy, and somewhat excused the intervention of a deity by suggesting that astonishment should be sought in tragic drama. In Aristophanes' play Thesmophoria Zuzi, the playwright parodies Euripides' frequent use of the crane by making Euripides himself a character in the play and bringing him on stage by way of the machine.
In modern literature,
a deus ex machina is generally deemed undesirable in writing and often implies a lack of creativity on the part of the author. The reasons for this are that it does not pay due regard to the story's internal logic, although it is sometimes deliberately used to do this, and is often so unlikely that it challenges suspension of disbelief, allowing the author to conclude the story with an unlikely, though perhaps more palatable, ending. Following Aristotle, Renaissance critics continue to view the deus ex machina as an inept plot device, although it continued to be employed by Renaissance dramatists. Shakespeare used the device in As You Like It, Pericles, Prince of Tyre, Cymbeline and The Winter's Tale. During the politically turbulent 17th and 18th centuries, the deus ex machina was sometimes used to make a controversial thesis more palatable to the powers of the day. For example, in the final scene of Molière's Tartuffe, the heroes are saved from a terrible fate by an agent of the compassionate, all-seeing king, the same king that held Molière's career and livelihood in his hands. Towards the end of the 19th century, Friedrich Nietzsche criticized Euripides for making tragedy an optimistic genre via use of the device, and was highly skeptical of the Greek cheerfulness, prompting what he viewed as the play's blissful delight in life. The deus ex machina as Nietzsche saw it was symptomatic of Socratic culture, which valued knowledge over Dionysiac music and ultimately caused the death of tragedy. Nietzsche argues that the deus ex machina creates a false sense of consolation that ought not to be sought in phenomena. His denigration of the plot device has prevailed in critical opinion. Some 20th-century revisionist criticism suggests that Deus ex machina cannot be viewed in these simplified terms, and contends that the device allows mortals to probe their relationship with the divine. Rush Riem in particular cites examples of Greek tragedy in which the Deus ex machina serves to complicate the lives and attitudes of characters confronted by the deity whilst simultaneously bringing the drama home to its audience. Sometimes, the unlikeliness of the Deus ex machina plot device is employed deliberately. For example, comic effect is created in a scene in Monty Python's Life of Brian when Brian, who lives in Judea in 33 AD, is saved from a high fall by a passing alien spaceship.
Recent examples.
In the classic novel Lord of the Flies, the rescue of the savage children by a passing Navy officer, which author William Golding called a gimmick, is viewed by some critics as a Deus ex machina. The abrupt ending conveys to the audience the terrible fate which would have afflicted the children, in particular Ralph, if the officer had not arrived at that moment. Comic book writer Matt Fraction was criticized for employing Franklin Richards' massive but ill-defined powers as Deus ex machina in the comic book Fear Itself No. 5, 2011. J.R.R. Tolkien coined the term Eucatastrophe to refer to a sudden turn of events that ensures the protagonist does not meet some impending fate. He also referred to the great eagles that appear in several places in The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings as a dangerous machine. Some critics have argued that Eucatastrophe, and in particular the eagles, exemplify Deus ex machina. For example, they save Frodo and Sam from certain death on Mount Doom in the final part of The Return of the King. Others contend that the two concepts are not the same, and that Eucatastrophe is not merely a convenience, but is an established part of a fictive world in which hope ultimately prevails.
Notes.
Random House Dictionary, http://www.poetryfoundation.org/ learning/ essay/ 237830 page = 3, Riem, 1992, 72, and Walton, 1984, 51, Janko, 1987, 20, Poetics 11.5 Penguin, 1996, 45, Dr. L. Kip Wheeler. Literary Terms and Definitions, D. Retrieved July 26, 2008, Riem, 1992, 70, Tartuffe, Novel Guide. 2003. Retrieved November 2, 2011, Nietzsche, 1993, 85, Nietzsche, 1993, 84-86, Nietzsche, 2003, 80. A. B. Riem, 1992, 71, James Berardinelli, James. Review, Life of Brian. Real Views Movie Reviews 2003, Friedman, Lawrence S. 2008. Grief, 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 Lord of the Flies. In Bloom, Harold. William Golding's Lord of the Flies. In Phobos Publishing pages 67-68. Retrieved December 31, 2013, Evans, Alex. Fear Itself No. 5, Review. Weekly Comic Book Review. August 12, 2011, J.R.R. Tolkien, Letter 210 is quoted here, Tolkien's Art, A Mythology for England by Jane Chance, pages 179, The Greenwood Encyclopedia of Science Fiction and Fantasy, Themes, Works, and Wonders, Volume 1, pages 195, Mallinson, Geoffrey. Eucatastrophe. In Mazer, Eric Michael. Encyclopedia of Religion and Film. ABC Clio /year = 2011. Pages 175. Retrieved January 1, 2014.